Hey guys. That was so cheesy. Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey Dana.
Oh.
No.
Why did you
No.
just do that to me?
Nathan, no.
Why did you do that to us?
Why did you do that to our
Wow,
listeners?
what a chaotic start.
Okay, what a chaotic start. Today we're gonna talk
I
about
mean, actually, we're talking about a very chaotic subject.
Yeah, we are really talking about a chaotic situation, which is, you guys will all know that Korea is like almost the only country.
Who are in a war, aside from our Ukrainian brothers.
Yeah, right. Who are technically
we are
in a war.
one of the only first world countries that
And we're divided
Yeah.
are
into
divided.
South Korea and North Korea, and we really wanted to talk about this. So today is going to be our first episode on this issue.
Yeah, it's kind of like an international politics issue. So
Mhm.
let's dive right in.
Okay.
So
This is Olivia here, and today we're going to talk about something that many people may be curious about Korea. What's going on between the North and South?
Dun
So-
dun dun.
Just a few years ago, when Korea was culturally less influential than it is today, one of the questions I'd always get asked as a Korean living in the U.S. was whether I was from North or South Korea.
Oh.
Which I still think that these people are idiots.
Like,
I
as a
did that
Korean,
as
that
well.
is really disrespectful.
Yeah, that's like, why would anyone ask that? Are they stupid? Okay, never mind.
Okay.
I mean, where would I be from? Anyways, Korea is one of the few divided countries in the world, and this is unique in that it's a first world country still experiencing this type of conflict. Before the Korean War, the Korean Peninsula was united under the Joseon dynasty for centuries, which created a strong bond between the people living on the peninsula. Korea is still a nation with homogeneous ethnicity, making this bond even stronger, and people have a strong affinity with each other because of this awareness as a single group of people. It's been almost 70 years since the Korean War, even longer since we've been divided, and the generations in Korea are experiencing a lot of conflict on the matter of reunification. So before talking about anything, let's first dive into the history of the Korean Peninsula to understand the background of it all. So basically, like I said, Korea used to be united under the Joseon dynasty. And near the end of the Joseon dynasty, in the early 1900s, Korea was annexed by Japan and remained in annexation until 1945, after Japan lost in World War II. As soon as the Japanese moved out, in came the U.S. and the Soviet Union, both of them looking for ways to create governments that fit their respective ideologies. Like most of you may know, straight after World War II was the Cold War, so the U.S. was backing capitalism, while the Soviet Union believed in socialism. The U.S. suggested dividing the peninsula along the 38th parallel north line, and the U.S. took over the south, north for the Soviet Union. The Cold War signaled the start of a long battle between the two superpowers, as well as within the people in Korea struggling to create a unified government. This also caused debate amongst the Koreans upon the type of nation to be constructed. You could say that from the perspective of the Koreans, the interventions of the two superpowers was very unwanted and only went in the way of union and peace. During the Moscow Conference, which took place in 1945, this discussed terms upon the creation of a government in the Korean Peninsula and the trusteeship by several different countries. The socialist forces agreed with these terms, while the capitalists did not. This would later cause even more conflict during the process of attempting to make a government. The Soviet Union claimed that only the forces that agreed to the terms of the Moscow Conference should participate in the elections, obviously because this would be an advantage for the socialist forces. While in the U.S., for the same reason, disagreed. The conflict went on until the UN took over the problem and decided to host an election that went according to population. However, the North opposed this time as they had fewer people and therefore were less likely to get their desired results. The end of this conflict caused the UN to have an election in only the South, resulting in a government on its own, with the North soon to follow.
This was actually the start of dividing.
Right. Even before the creation of the governments, once the South and the North were, annexed by the Soviet Union and the U.S., that was basically the start of,
Because of the ideology difference.
right, the conflict. And this has been continued for 77 years. 77, I think.
I mean, like, we are still in war. The war hasn't ended. Like, that's crazy for
that's
77 years.
And
We're so nonchalant about it, though.
yeah, and something that's really crazy is that everyone is so used to the fact that we're still in war. No one really acknowledges it. Like, North
Even though
Korea,
North Korea like shoots
doing
a
like
missile or
experimenting with like nuclear missiles and
for-
stuff.
for-
We're like, okay.
Yeah, like,
what's the matter?
so like here's like the difference. Like, for example, in America, like North Korea shoots like a batch of like new missiles. CNN is
yeah.
like, oh my god, the anchors like
The
news
world is
anchors are like, oh my god, but us like high school students who are living in Korea are like,
So, like, okay, again.
International
Okay,
media
again.
like
outlets
yeah,
are
we're like again, like what?
Okay.
It's a typical Tuesday morning. I mean,
It happens every day, guys.
Okay, so going on, despite the conflict and the opposition that soon followed, everything seemed to be going well with, laws being made and new governments being raised, or so it seemed. On June 25th, 1950, North Korea attacked without a declaration of war, signaling the start of the Korean War. The war set family and friends against each other and, like any other, caused pain and destruction across the land. In 1953, an armistice agreement was made and has been so until now. Like we said before, officially the Koreas are still at war and have made massive impacts on society. Korean men are required to be in the army for almost 2 years. I think our boys probably have a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And there are still families that have been separated by war and cannot meet each other due to the war. Every year, a huge amount of money is being spent to maintain the army. And outside of Korea, the North-South relationship is a major hindrance to world peace. Kim Jong-un and his shenanigans may be a worldwide meme, but it's still a very real problem here in Korea. Over the years, there's been discord both politically and physically. In 2010, a North Korean submarine attacked Korean vessels, causing many casualties. North-South relations have steadily worsened as North Korea's nuclear experiments became a worldwide controversy. Amongst all this drama, the topic of concern to Koreans is about reunification. So, reunification, basically, in the perspective of South Korea, is unifying the Korean Peninsula based on capitalism, which our government is based on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the North probably thinks otherwise. They probably want to make us all socialists, but
That's never gonna happen, baby.
well,
You never know.
okay.
Oh, that was a joke. That was a joke.
So let's go back to the military. No, let's go back to the division.
The what?
The division
Yeah, okay.
of the North and South
Great.
Korea.
Yay.
So, first, let's just talk about how this has been impacting our lives. Are you guys, me, I only came to Korea last year. I've lived in the U.S. for like 9 years, so I'm not really aware of how large the situation is, impacting.
I
the
don't know
lives
if I'm
of
being
Koreans.
too oblivious about it, but it's not really. It is big, right, guys? Because I live in South Korea every day, I really honestly do not feel a threat. I mean,
it's just part of day-to-day life.
yeah, part of day-to-day life.
The most dread I felt because of the division is at family gatherings, of the in family gatherings, you always know there's someone who brings up a political content,
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
over some little
Yeah.
little alcohol. It goes really, really hard, and everyone in the old generations, they're all like, we have to unite because of that little, what do you call it, like they're like, I don't know if the listeners will understand, but
Like the ethnic.
우리의 소원은 통일,
Yeah, I know,
That's-
I know.
that's kind of
Yeah, because
It was a
brainwashing.
propaganda.
Yeah.
Like, for those of you guys that don't know, like back in the day, and still today, I guess, people, like the government educates our people
More like
Yeah.
brainwashing.
I'm sorry, Santana, but next episode we're gonna do a. Can I say this?
Yeah. of
Yeah, we're
course.
gonna do a debate, and you're on the side of. On the
It's
side
kind of a different problem
It's
between
okay, let's project
brainwashing
our
and actually
emotions.
like.
Alright.
Oh, anyways, because they have been brainwashed for their entire lives. They're being like, we have to unite, and younger
Yeah.
generations are like, no, we don't have to unite, and there's always a fight going on, like always, like
Right.
because of that political, like,
Yeah, the old generation and the young generation are really different towards like how they look at this issue.
yeah, because of
There's
that.
actually a poll, and I found it. Wait a
Because of that, I think the biggest conflict that comes from the division is not between North and South Korea, but the generations
That's like
between Korea.
between ourselves.
minute. So the millennials who are in their 20s right now, the 74% of them think that are just like really not. They're not even like caring about the situation right now. The 74% doesn't even really care about the reunification. If it
They're
has
busy
to
with
really
their
happen,
lives.
or is it really serious, or is it needed, whatnot. It really isn't something that, it isn't something that they're actually interested in, even. And that is a big problem, I think. So, this is a personal experience again, but my grandfather, he originally lived in North Korea. And he
Oh,
came to South
wow.
Korea when he was 11 years old by himself.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
very brave of him.
And he told me a story, and I don't remember all the details of it, but he had to like go through security. He had to like run for miles and miles, and then take the train without knowing anybody. And at that time, the train was really old. It was
Right.
and a lot of these trains kind of went off the rail, and they
Oh my God.
Oh.
collapsed, and he might have died if he went on the wrong train. And he told about that stuff, and he told me that it was really hard for him to adjust to life in South Korea when he came. So luckily he met his uncle, I think. Yeah, his relative, and then his relative let him go to school. And then but still he didn't have any money, so every day he had to like starve at school. And then he had a lot of stomach issues. He still has them.
Wow.
He has to take pills all the time, and
Oh my God.
it makes me really sad
And
about.
something that's really like it's just the fact that stories like this aren't super uncommon. Like a lot of the older generations here in Korea have gone through like things like this, escape aids, and how they had to get out of their hometowns to not get involved in the war and things like that. And I think that's just another way of how it's been affecting our
lives.
our lives. And I think that's something that is most noticeable here in Korea is the military.
Yeah.
My condolences to Nathan and Santino, who has to
Oh
go
my
to
God.
I mean,
military for 2
oh
years.
God. I mean, like, come on. I mean,
Technically 18 months, right?
yeah,
18
18
months?
months.
18 months.
Bro,
And
I'm-
there's also a lot of controversy about how it's unfair because
yeah.
only the guys have to go and the women are just sitting there, and it's something that's a very sensitive topic here in Korea as
right.
well.
I don't think that like gender should be a problem in like military
Service,
settings and
yeah.
stuff. But
Definitely.
I think the major problem in military is of the benefits of actually serving in the military.
Right.
Right.
So most importantly, especially the millennial generation and our generation believes that so even though after like 70 years we don't have so we feel like we don't have a proper military compensation because so normally even prior a few years back, there was like normally some financial compensation regarding or academic compensation regarding your like university scores if you miss out on the university due to your military service. But however, like due to some new laws that have been passed for like a couple of years ago, that has been abolished. So we actually don't get any credit from our schools or from our universities, even though we serve our services in the military, and that is kind of like a main focal point for, the millennial men, because they kind of like are infuriated because of that.
So they just want to be like not paid, but
it's
just
like 2 years puff and
Yeah.
nothing.
and nothing. I think that's the really big problem, and the people too. They're not really like, should I say grateful, but they're not. They're thinking that their service in the military is kind of like is they're thinking that's quite
It's a responsibility.
is just a responsibility, and they should do
It's
it.
that they do, yeah, it's just a duty that they have to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So that's about the military. Just I
Yeah.
just, as a person who is going to go to going to serve in the military,
Mhm.
like I'm not like really like I don't want to go. I don't want to go, but I just want to be like really respected or
You think that
thanked.
this is a really great opportunity? Or
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, like our society doesn't really give a lot of credit to people who go to the military.
Yeah,
For
we just think
example.
that it's a ritual that people do
Yeah,
when they
so-
like turn some age.
So
or-
so that is what especially Korean millennial and Korean men are really envious about America, because in the United States of America and mostly in Western countries, where serving in military is kind of like an voluntary action. So they always have so much gratitude for those whom are serving, regardless of like their gender. They always have so much respect for them. Like they always say thank you for your service,
Yeah.
and they have in general they have so much respect in their community and in their society. But however, yeah, as Dana has just like mentioned, it has been like kind of like a norm for Korea, because we have been
Yeah.
like doing this for 70 years. So going to the military, it's not that
Special.
significant
Yeah.
yet anymore. It's just like kind of like
Yeah, okay,
the thing that's
You're like
yeah.
20 something. When are you gonna go to the
Oh
military?
yeah, it's just like military. It's just like a kind of like a annual routine, kind of like a lively
And the
routine.
problem about that is not only the public's attitude about it, but also because the public responds that way, the people who go to the military are really reluctant about
Right,
going
they
to
feel
the military.
Yeah.
underappreciated.
Mhm.
Even though in
And because
reality,
military is
they're
really
giving
rigorous,
up.
they really
Yeah.
need the this emotional reward.
right,
But
right.
since they're not getting that, their service might be poor. Their acts might be poor, and if they serve in the military, and that might lead to like really real concerns because they don't have the stamina,
motivation.
the motivation. So these are like how the division is really affecting
our
South
lives.
Koreans,
Yeah.
because even though we South Koreans are really like chilling about the issue, it's not really. I think chilling itself is kind of sad, because it means that our
We're
society is so
used
entrenched
to-
in this
right.
division situation that we're so used to it.
Yeah, we're so used to that we don't even feel the need to change anything.
Yeah, and
Even
that,
though, in the
Mhm.
perspective of some people who are from other countries, they may look at our society as kind of strange.
yeah, and abnormal, but
right.
we're just fine with it, and
Yeah.
that is kind of weird and also sad in some way.
Yeah, agree to that.
That's because like the South Koreans and North Koreans, they're like it's very sad, but they're becoming like two different countries.
Yeah,
Right,
that is
right.
also very sad too.
Because of that, I think the people is going like, as your expression, just chilling with it, because
You
they're
guys
like
know-
different countries.
You guys know Germany, before they reunited, their ideology was really different, but
Oh,
their
yeah.
economic situation also was different, but it wasn't as different as us and North Korea.
I
So
feel
what
like-
I'm really concerned about is if we really reunify,
how
how
is
are
it
we
gonna
going to
happen?
resolve the
Definitely.
disparity
Huge
between the two
problem.
countries? I mean, we're obviously two different countries right now.
Right
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone-
Sad but true.
And the sad thing is that, like, 50 years ago, just 50 years ago, like, there were people who were alive who were
Right.
relatives of each other
And
who
these
lived in
people
different
are-
lands.
Yeah, and these people are all dying out now.
Yeah, and these
They're
people
growing old.
share their bloods, and right now we're just different people. We talk in a
Yeah,
different
so-
way. We think about different
So
things.
actually, that's one of my main vocal reasons why I don't agree to like reunification. I don't see like the necessary purpose of reunification.
And this is what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So
Hooray.
today we kind of gave you guys a context, a really specific context, thanks to Olivia's intense research. So we gave you guys context about what the division means to us and how it started to happen. And then for the next episode, episode 4-2, we're going to have a brief debate on this issue, if we should reunify or not.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
So
you.
see you
Thank
guys
you.
in the next episode.
See you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.